So... Ah, shit.
Jason was my son, and today is his birthday.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Dave Cave. I, as always, am Dave. Now, before we get started, stay on top of all things horror, well, mostly horror these days, a little bit of heroes. Hit that subscribe, ding the bell, so you don't miss a minute. Today, I'm going to be talking about a film that ended up spawning 10 sequels and basically created one of the most iconic slashers of all time. But before we get into talking about the film, I have a preface. I have never seen 1 through 9. 1 through Jason Goes to Hell. I've never seen them.
Fool this man!
I realized this fact very recently when I had the idea to start the journey that I am now on to review every single one of the big three. Starting with Jason, Freddy will be right behind, and then by the time we get to October, we will be talking Halloween. And on October 31st, on Halloween, I will rank every single one of these bitches. 31 on 31. It is not my original idea. I'm definitely taking this from Cody, Lee, Brian, Mother Mayhem, CP. They definitely did this before. I'm not trying to take any credit for that. But back then, last year, I was very inspired to do this. Now that I finally have the time to do it, I'm starting it and realizing that I have not seen these Friday the 13th movies. I understand that I should be whipped, I should be shamed, but I finally am getting eyes on them. But in not having seen these movies before, I'm glad to be sharing in this journey of watching 1 through 9, 1 through Jason Goes to Hell, with all of you. Now, I will say, because I've been around, I've been in the horror community, I've been watching these movies my whole life, I know references, I have a baseline understanding of the series. I understand that in this film, it's Mrs. Voorhees. I understand where they go a couple parts here and there through the series, but I haven't seen them. So there's ins and outs that I'm going to not have seen before that may surprise me, may not surprise me, but all the way along the way, I've not seen them. So join me on the journey. Here we go. The original Friday the 13th was directed by Sean S. Cunningham, stars Adrienne King as Alice, a whole bunch of cannon fodder, including Kevin Bacon as Jack, and then you have Betsy Palmer coming out at the very end as Pamela Voorhees. She was fucking awesome. The movie starts in 1958, and you get a lot of POV right off the get-go from the killer's perspective, and that leads right into a kill right off the get-go, but it's not anything really to write home about. It's kind of cool, but nothing really crazy. Fast forward then to 1980, present day, June 13th, and then you find out what's so spectacular about that day. But for right now, you just get a lot of, don't go there, don't go there. You get Crazy Ralph. You get a lot of warnings about what happened back in 1958. You get a little bit more backstory while Annie is on her way to Camp Crystal Lake. And after you get that little bit of explaining on Annie's trip there, that's really all you need. You can let everything get crazy from there, and holy shit, does it. But first, we're going to talk some of the stuff that I like. The first thing I liked about Friday the 13th was that it builds a good creep factor. You have Crazy Ralph. You have the story that Annie gets told about the kid that drowned in 1957, and then the kids that were the 2 camp counselors that were killed in 1958, and that, again, in 62 they tried to open it, but the water was bad, and that the place is cursed. This is cursed, that is cursed. Camp Blood is cursed. Camp Crystal Lake is nowhere anybody wants to be. It's just a bad idea to be going back there. But then you have these people going back there, and I like that. I like that everybody's kind of like, okay, you know, everybody there is kind of not really afraid. They're fine. But we as the audience know, hey, you trust Crazy Ralph. You trust the people that are around. They know what's going on. You don't want to be there. You really don't want to be there. Quit. And with the creep factor, I like the way that they build the suspense in that nobody is really scared in the film. We know these people are getting picked off left, right, and center, but really, they don't know. Until the very end, nobody knows anything's going on. There's nothing to be afraid of for these people, but all these people are getting killed. I like that disparity. I like that nobody knows what's going on, but we know what's going on, so you get a lot of, don't go in there, don't do that, look out, don't check that, don't go behind this curtain. You get a lot of that for us, but they don't know. They're just, Billy? Was that you? Come on. You get a lot of moments like that where it's just a bad time, and it becomes a trope. It becomes stereotypical of these 80s slashers, but for right now, this is the start of it. And I really, really liked it in this. I was surprised by that. And the next thing I really liked about this film, I mentioned it a little bit ago, was the kills. I liked them. Every single one of them. The way they were practically done, the special effects on them. I dug it. We're going to go more into the kills later, but as of right now, I liked the kills. It was one of my favorite parts in this film, by far. And the last thing that stood out as something I really liked about this film was the reveal of Pamela Voorhees. Now I know, going into this, that she was the killer. I knew that. 100% I knew that she was the killer. It was still creepy as shit. I had not seen her little monologue that when she shows up, she talks about Jason as his birthday and has this whole crazy ass moment. She was awesome. It does kind of have a suspension of belief that this 54-year-old woman put Bill up on the door with some arrows. You kind of have a suspension there, but she was awesome. When she showed up, immediate creep factor. Again, creep factor. I dig it in this film. But she is creepy as all shit. And then she starts talking in Jason's voice. And whoo, damn girl, you scary. Now that we have tooted Friday the 13th's horn, we are absolutely going to talk about the stuff that did not land for me. My first entry in the bad column is definitely the plot holes. Now, you can forgive plot holes in general for this genre. For the slasher 80s genre, you can let it go. Because story is not really what you go to for these movies. Especially Friday the 13th. You go for the splatterfest. But when you have things like Brenda leaves the strip Monopoly game, right? The door blows open. They realize that, oh my god, it's torrentially raining. She goes, oh, I left my cabin window open. I'm going to go back to the cabin. We'll play this game another time. Deuces. Leaves in a trench coat and her bra and panties. Leaves. But then she goes and brushes her teeth. And then she gets to her cabin and there's no mention of the window again. I understand that it's a get her to from point A to point B, but I was like, what? And again, I know it's Friday the 13th. Don't gripe on it. But that was a big one. And there's more than a couple. But that one really stuck out to me. Down. The next problem I had with this film was the parallels I found to Halloween. Now, I understand that Halloween spawned all of this. I understand that it was the start of this big craze in the 80s for slasher films. I get it. It's fine. But when you have Steve fall out of the tree and hang just like Bob did, it's like, damn, man, that's Halloween. And also with the music, you have them trying to find an iconic sound that would be Friday the 13th. And it feels like Friday the 13th. But right now, I couldn't tell you how the music goes. That Halloween music is iconic as shit. And I'm not going to compare Friday the 13th and Halloween after this film. But it is worth noting, as the first two entries, 78 and 80, that Friday the 13th had a lot of parallels with Halloween. So that took me out of it in an otherwise pretty on its own movie. Now, for the last thing that really stuck out as a problem for me was the over-the-top reaction shots. Now, I understand that some might say that that's the acting. The acting was bad. But again, the one thing that stuck out is another Brenda moment when Brenda gets thrown through the window and Alice is staring at her and she's dead and glass is in her face and we're not exactly sure how she died. They stay on Alice for a very long time. a very long time, a very long time, and a very long time. They follow her down and over, and it was like, dude, cut it. Like, make it go faster. It was not working. The effect that they were going for of the staying on Alice to see her chaos, it was like, dude, just, you got to move this along. You got to get moving. It's not working. Now that we got the good and the bad out of the way, we're going to talk the one thing that you can be damn sure is awesome in a Friday the 13th film, the kills. As I said before, I really like the kills in this film. Probably is my favorite part of the film just across the board. I like the axe in the face of Darcy. I like the arrows into Bill and Bill on the door. I like the kills. But what I like so much about the kills is that the blood is crimson. You get some films that have a lower budget and you get this kind of fire engine red paint blood. And sometimes you still get it now. In modern day, you will get that kind of shitty Superman cape red blood. This film was not okay with that. This film went for blood that was crimson and looked good. I loved the shit out of that. And what was so awesome to realize is that the reason it looks so good is because Tom Savini worked on this film. That very much helped all the kills in this film, is that man had a hand in them. And on top of the way the kills look, they are gruesome. They are gnarly. They're kind of kills. And I like that. And it sets the tone for an entire series of Jason gnarly kills. Despite the fact that none of these kills are done by Jason, I guess it just runs in the family. And my award for favorite kill of the film goes to Jack. Arrow through the neck, post-sex. I like how simple it is, but also how gruesome it is. You get the arrowhead and it's kind of janking around, but you get the fountain of blood. But what also is good about that, and I'm going to talk about it a little bit more in a minute here, is the confused boner kills. You get that. That's another thing that Friday the 13th films became known for, is the confused boner kills, where you have these sex scenes, you have these beautiful naked women, and then you have blood, guts, and gore. Now it's your turn. Hit the comments below. Let me know what your favorite kill is. And now we're going to talk some of my final thoughts for the classic that is Friday the 13th. If it isn't apparent, I like this movie overall a lot. It was a lot better than I was anticipating going into. As I said, I don't know anything about these films before Jason X. And we'll talk about Jason X. That is coming down the road. But as of right now, I just know that a lot of the stereotypical make fun of horror movie type stuff comes from Friday the 13th films. You get a lot of stuff that you can make fun of in these films, but I really liked it. I really, really did. Pamela Voorhees, the head fake that it isn't a guy, that it's this old woman, she's killing for her son, creepy as shit. The kills were awesome. Loved it. I very much a big fan of it. I cannot wait to watch part 2. And as I said before, I have a baseline idea of what goes on in these films, so I know that we are going to get more of what I called confused boner kills. I know that more of those are coming. I'm looking forward to them. I'm looking forward to the surprise of when really anybody can be killed. That's one thing that the Friday the 13th films seem to have done well, is you can be killed whenever. So if you haven't seen Friday the 13th, I absolutely would suggest you go watch it. If you, like me, for some reason had put it off forever, go watch it. Really go watch it. It's worth your time. Absolutely stream it, rent it, go buy it. I bought 1 through 8 for like $20 on Amazon. Definitely go check it out. If you're a slasher fan, you like Michael, you like Freddy, go check it out. I'm really excited for seeing the rest of these. I thought this was going to be the dumper. That's kind of why I did it first. But I'm excited. I'm looking forward to the future of the Friday the 13th franchise. If you're looking for other reviews that I've done on horror films, I'll put a couple in the description below. Go check those out, see what I think, and get ready, because we got a lot of Friday the 13th coming. And while you're down there, I also have links to my Instagram and Twitter, both of which are at @TheDaveCave_. Post over there when I'm not posting here. And that is going to do it for me today. Thank you so much, as always, for stopping by the Dave Cave. Friday the 13th, part 2 is coming on Tuesday. But until then, take care.